Slob.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We don't know what time it is because Zach's bed is not made.
Yeah. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? Dude, we're on the backside of 2025.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
It is July 1st.
Mm-hmm.
It is Canada Day. So happy Canada Day to those who celebrate.
Yeah, we won't be on for the 4th, so happy birthday, America.
Yep. Happy birthday, America, too.
Happy birthday, Wee Whacker.
Yep, and happy birthday, Wee Whacker. Last year, if you don't remember, we did a river box with Live Rough, Die Tough, and that was the debut of the Brazalo Wee Whacker, and said creator of the Brazalo Wee Whacker, sorry.
Dude, how much fun was it?
Danny Larbo.
How much fun was it to go wet wade the Shenandoah River, dude?
What was more fun to me was like when we got the Wee Whacker, it was genuinely like the bait wasn't live. Like we were essentially live testing this bait. And it's not like Danny was like, hey, I need your guys' feedback before I release this.
Nah, he knew it.
It was in the chamber. It was loaded. It was ready. But it was still cool to be part of that. Like, hey, this hasn't released yet. I'm going to give you some anyway.
What's going on, Todd? What's going on, Michael Bradley? Nice to see you, boys.
Ryan, how are you? I see, hey, Instagram is picking some people up, so that's good.
Cool. I am not watching Instagram. I guess I should.
I got it up.
You got it?
I need to get another screen or something. Just run multiple screens.
Yeah, you need the gamer set up.
I need the war room.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Oh. Best day ever. I got one more piece of grid wall in and 100 more pegs.
That is
I can't wait.
That's a big deal. But as you know, we've worked with Danny a lot, especially this year. Here's the deal.
Yeah.
Here's what you're going to get with Brazalo. Reliable as hell.
Effective.
Effective. I don't want to hear none of that. Oh, they don't catch fish BS. Hand tied. We'll talk jig colors. You go into a store, you've got your green pumpkin, you've got your green pumpkin brown, you've got your black and blue, you got your whites, you see where I'm going with this. Brazalo, and the nice thing about shopping small, hitting up the small businesses, not only will he do a custom color for you, he's got his own custom colors, but he's also got tweaks on the OG colors, right?
His colors are good.
And his colors are good. I believe I do. Beautiful. I don't. It's tied on. That's funny. Nope, I do. I knew it because I have 2 May boxes.
How'd you get 2 May boxes?
Remember, you had to send me 2 because something happened.
Oh, and you just kept it, didn't you? I'm gonna send you an invoice.
Yeah. So my favorite color, one of my favorite colored jigs ever is the blue oyster color, and I was put onto this probably 5 years ago. But it's literally just brown green pumpkin with some of that black blue sapphire in it. It's like a smoke black and blue. It's not a hard black. It's dark enough. It adds enough contrast. But what it does is, with the blue and the black mixed in with the green pumpkin and the brown, again, it adds that flash. If they're looking for something dark, there's darkness in that bait. If they're looking for something natural, well, dude, it's black and brown and green. Okay?
It puts the Braz in our ballo.
Yeah, it's definitely putting Braz in my alley. You know what I mean? But we've done enough talking. Let's get Danny in here.
Yeah, let's get Danny in here.
Mr.
What's up, Danny? How you doing, bub?
I will.
What's up, man?
I'll warn you. My girlfriend's here, so
I'll
tone it down, you silver fox.
Look, so yeah, I'm.
Come in flexing. Come on.
Hey, could have been worse or better. Depending.
I'm gonna go upstairs and I'll be like, "What's wrong?" She's like, "You wouldn't get it."
Oh man, how you boys been doing?
Good, man. Good. We've deemed this we're happy birthdaying the Wee Whacker today.
Yes.
I heard, man. And the Wee Whacker says thank you for the happy birthday wishes.
Hell yeah.
I wish mine would talk to me. It's mad at me for putting it down last year. That's what it is.
It does talk to you. And if it's not talking to you, you better pinch it a little bit.
I can hear it. It's talking to me right now. I can hear the machines running right now. So yeah, so the Wee Whacker, we got something coming up for it.
And it's a difficult night tonight to do a live stream. I've got like 78 degrees right now.
Oh, it's time.
Oh, like the air is wet, and it's rare to get some wet air in the daytime in the sun.
Otherwise known as it's got that
stuff, you know.
Is it? I don't know. It in the mornings it's rather moist out here. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and say it. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it.
Rather,
Dude,
yeah, moist. Is,
Pittsburgh is subtropic, and has been for 2 weeks.
yeah.
So I lived in Illinois. I grew up in Chicago.
Oh, nice.
And so, yeah, in summer times, like when we moved to Texas, like the heat was no big deal for us because the humidity around there was unreal, you know. So it's like, you know, I took my wife and we went to Chicago, went and saw my family up there 4th of July a few years ago. And she could not believe how unbearably hot it was.
It's oppressive, dude. It's heavy.
It's just like it's thick. So it's like you need backpack and just carry it around with you, you know. It's like,
dude, I work I work just northwest of Columbus, and it's all just flat farmland. So like, not only do you have the heat, but you have the nice Ohio humidity. Because like you get all the rain, the ground's perpetually wet, but it's also 90 degrees, and like up until like 10 a.m. it's like foggy, but it's like 82 degrees outside.
Plus, I'm assuming you get a lot of moisture blowing in off the lakes.
Yep, blowing it off the lakes, and it revamps it. When the weather goes through the city, it ramps itself right up again like a mountain effect. It's thick, like you said. Like just
the quickest way to put people to sleep is start talking about weather. Let's talk about the Wee Whacker, and let's let Danny talk about the Wee Whacker. Why don't you give us a little background? Tell us the story.
I just stuck the Wee Whacker. There you go, the Wee Whacker, and it doesn't look like the Wee Whacker because we're steadily finding baits that it's like everybody says. Now we're at the point where everybody says, "Well, what can you run on it?" And the response that we have to them now is, "What can't you run on it?" Because every time we're just in the boat, just dumping stuff out, and just So the Wee Whacker is a. I have one in my hands. Bear with me.
You're good.
Would have been super cool if you had a bear with them. Look at that. Look, man.
Yeah, look at the wall.
I'm very excited. This excites me. I can't wait to put the lights up in the warehouse.
Okay. Here's the Wee Whacker. This little guy here. This is to give you size reference right here. It is 4 inches of pure enjoyment.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll let y'all do with whatever you want on that. So anyway, the Wee Whacker is just this little bitty buzzbait, 3/0 hook. You can see the head on it is nice and flat.
Yep.
It's got keepers that go out to the side. The reason for the keepers going out to the side, every single pro that has seen our buzzbaits and how the keepers are set up wishes that every bait on the market was set up like that, because we run little thin baits on it.
Yep.
And if you run an up and down keeper on it, it's going to tear the baits up. So we're trying to help the anglers out with
flat
that.
baits.
Yeah, no, that my favorite thing to run on it thus far is which I don't know if he's around anymore, but the Hog Molly kinetic craw.
Oh yes, yeah. I haven't seen him in a while. I haven't.
I think he's done.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
man, that sucks, man. That sucks.
I know it sucks to see one go, man. Especially proprietary designs. But
I know. That was like, he has some really cool stuff here. So, but back to the Wee Whacker, little small bait. So, that has a little bead that it collects on. and you'd be surprised the amount of sound that this thing puts out. It's not crazy loud like a bushwhacker or the M1 or anything like that. It's got this little clicking sound that comes across the water, and it's a very subtle V when it's coming across there, and a little tick, 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 tick coming across the water. So it's not. And I went out Sunday with it, and it's still. I wanted to get some footage and stuff because for this week's anniversary and stuff. And it's like it still blows me away on where you can put the bait and how subtle it is. It's like I was running grass lines, and you literally pitch this thing up, and it just sets right up on the grass, and then you just pull it right in, and it's non-intrusive. It doesn't make a big splash going in the water or anything like that. So this thing just gets bit before anything else does.
I've gotten real picky on the noise that it makes. So you can have it, you can pinch it so that it's really hitting that ball.
Yep.
Or it can be barely hitting it, but there's this sweet spot somewhere right in the middle, and I can hear it every time. And if it ain't running right, I gotta pinch it.
It's for me, it's like I'm not looking for a sound. I'm looking for a certain type of resistance in the water.
Yep.
Obviously there's a sound, but like when I have just this little bit of resistance where it's like I can really, as I'm reeling, I can really feel that blade knocking that bell. I'm like, there it is. And dude, I'm telling you, as far as where you can put it, like any flat bait, any, horny toad, buzz frog, like a CP crawl, the kinetic crawl, you can skip that thing too. Like that plastic and that compact profile is going to allow you to skip it. And my favorite thing is you can throw it on pretty much anything. I've thrown it on BFS gear. I know Zach likes it on BFS gear. I've thrown it on like a 6'10", like a small, compact, like square bill rod, just kind of a, moderate heavy type rod. And I've thrown it on straight up 7.4 buzzbait rods.
So we tell everybody that basically anything you would throw a spinnerbait or a square bill on.
Yep.
That is what the Wee Whacker likes. You can cast a long way because once you take these two components right here and put them together, and it weighs a half ounce.
Yep.
So you can really whale it. You can throw it a long way if you really want to. So I throw it the most of the time. I'm throwing it on 7-foot medium heavy fast, pretty much all the time, and I'm running 17-pound mono or 17-pound fluoro, whatever that rod has on it. I don't run braid on it very often. We do know of a flaw with the bait. Nothing wrong with the bait, but a flaw is, and it deals with braid. But we're going to give everybody a hack for that if you want to run braid, because it can handle the braid. But right here on the twist top, right here on top of it, where the loop tie is, so that braid can actually get in there because the braid is so thin, and it'll actually loop around and get in here. So what we do with our prop baits, like our devil horses, stuff like that, or those teases and stuff like that, got the propellers on top in front of it. So before we tie the bait on, we put like 3 bobber stops on there, and then tie the bait on it, and then pull the bobber stops down to the bait, and that keeps that line straight right there on the edge. So it can't, it has a harder time wrapping around because it stays, for lack of a better word, it stays erect right there at the end of the bait. You
want your Wee Whacker erect.
Exactly. You want what's attached to your Wee Whacker erect.
I just hope it's not me.
So literally that bait became my absolute favorite bait that we put in a box in 2024, hands down. It just became my favorite and it's very effective. And it's like you were saying, like if you're knocking on a door, it's just a little right. So, but this year we got its big brother, which doesn't. It actually knocks the freaking door
bang,
down.
Bang, bang.
Oh, it's like the FBI coming at the door. They got the door knocker up on it. So
that's the M1 Pro.
We ran into the M1. So the M1 is the big brother to. The M1 is the big brother to the Wee Whacker. It literally looks exactly like the Wee Whacker. And I was tinkering with some rods, so I've got all this stuff just sitting around here. So I look like I'm completely unprepared. I am.
Oh, no need. I got one.
Well, I want to hold one too.
Hey, man. Take your time.
So the M1 Pro,
Yep.
as you can see, looks just like the Wee Whacker. It's just much larger. So Wee Whacker has a 35 wire on this right here, 3-aught hook, and an E-blade. So the M1, or its code word was Mag Whacker. So you'll hear me talk about the mag and stuff like that. It's the M1. But it's
Well,
basically,
yeah. How come you didn't stay with the Mag Whacker?
Well, we kept talking about Mag Whacker, and when we went to show season this year, a lot of people were asking us, and they were like, "Well, I can't keep up with all the whackers you got." You got the Wee Whacker, you got the Bush Whacker, you got the Pro Elite Whacker,
Okay.
So we were like, we wanted to set it apart because it is a completely different animal than the Bush Whacker. It's completely different. Where it can go, what it can do, how it was built. And did I go away?
No,
Josh is hitting buttons.
It's messing with me.
There you go.
There it is. I was trying to type the comments.
So anyway, it's got a sleeve on it that goes into the head, just like I'm fixing to take a plastic off. You can see how well this keeper keeps this on here. This is a net bait fuel BF toad on here. It doesn't have a hook. It doesn't have a hook slot in it. The hooks are very sharp. I just almost went to the barb on it. And has a bead on here, just like the other one. And so the bead on here, if you'll notice, I'm sliding it around. It's free, and it spins, and that allows these blades to spin at a very slow rate because there is no friction on them whatsoever. So they never stop. Whereas with the regular clacking style buzz bait, they typically have to hit the head or the wire. So they're hitting a stationary object. So that blade's actually pausing. So you got to really crank on them to get them come up. Where ours, they get up really fast, really easy, really slow, and move across the water. So the Bushwhacker is the one that everybody knows us for. It's got the drop down on it for the deeper hook sets and all that kind of stuff. But the Bushwhacker has a problem. It does not like grass at all. Because it catches on all that grass and stuff like that. So the M1 literally slides right over everything. There's no drop on it to catch any of this.
No,
we mess with it.
Sorry, go ahead.
We mess with the angle of the wire on it to make sure that it sets down in the water just right and gives us a unique sound on the bait. If you can believe that the way the wire is positioned changes the sound of the bait. So we actually had to go through a couple of different variations till we got it just right for that setup. But
I can confirm that thing, like people across the lake will hear you running your buzzbait.
So here I am stretching this bait out. You can see how much I've stretched it out, trying to get it off of this keeper system here that we have on this thing. And that toad's done. It's gored out in the middle because of the keeper system that we have that goes side to side on that.
You'll break the hind legs off before you.
Yeah. So one other thing that we wanted to do, because the Wee Whacker, if you notice where the bead is, it's got a little sleeve on it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And the sleeve goes down into the head, and it adds strength to that bait. That's where its power comes from. So it's got a little bit something to strengthen it right there at the head, and it also doubles as the spacer on there. So you can only imagine when we put these things together, it's quite the process.
Oh, I bet.
Putting them together and stuff. Well, with the M1, we did the same thing on it. It goes all the way down to the connection. So you can see right here, when I go to bend it, it bends at the top.
Right.
It does not bend at the head. This is one of the main breaking points right here, is when that thing gets dorked up. So we wanted it as strong as possible. And we overbuilt the bait. There's people that are catching 4, 5, 6 pounders and boat flipping them, taking the fish off and turn around, casting them back out without tuning the bait.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey,
So it's kind of one of those where you're like, probably won't sell a whole lot of them because you're gonna have to hope they break them off.
That's why you bring out more blade configurations.
You just gotta hope. You gotta hope for them backlashes, and they just snap off, and they go whoo.
Right?
Yeah. That's what you know. And people are like, "Oh, I throw mine on 17-pound mono." I was like, I love you. You keep being you, brother.
I do love that. I love that about like TikTok. Like, there's just so many haters on TikTok, and I love how people just have the most one-sided arguments. They're like, just to let you know, 20-pound monofilament will do anything. And I'm like, dude, first of all, have you tried spooling 20-pound monofilament on a 2500 size spinning reel? You're done in 4 hours.
Yeah.
Also, I will break 20-pound fluorocarbon, or sorry, yeah, sure. I'll break 20-pound nylon line on a hook set. I will. And a lot of people will. It's, I'm not sitting here saying, Joshy's super strong. I'm just saying that shit'll break.
Yeah.
Man, you're still reeling from when Danny come in flexing, aren't you?
He's trying to. I mean, he's trying. But
I've
hey,
also
look
put
here,
100-pound blade.
Look here, Zach. All I gotta do. I just gotta bring it back. Okay, now we're good. Now we're good.
Hold on. I did install a phone tracker before this. Just a heartbeat monitor. Dude, so funny thing about the bushwhacker, I have never caught so many fish underwater on a topwater bait except for the bushwhacker. Like, I've fouled a cast, had it go down. Whatever it may be, getting weeds off my line as I'm reeling it in, and I'm like, dead cast, just get the weeds off early. And under the water, that thing is and you've got a trailer kicking like this, and it's like an inline chatterbait. It doesn't make any sense. It still gets bit.
Yep. Yeah. That's a bait we're really proud of, and I can go ahead and tell you, I never expected that bait to do what it's done. It's kind of one of those things where people have baits in their arsenal that eventually fade away, and then they make a resurgence later on, or they bring them back and then they go away. And the bushwhacker has always been there. It's literally, it started going, you're out. It's still in there. Should be. Sorry, that's one of my guys over here.
I thought maybe that was the whip. I thought maybe that was the person cracking the whip, and that was it. You had to get back on the machines.
No.
I know you've probably been nose to the grindstone here for the last couple months.
Yeah, it's starting to lax a little bit, which is kind of nice, and get a breath of fresh air and stuff. And we've taken some days off, and like weekends. We've had 2 weekends in a row that I've had off. Ooh. Other than that, it's been like since May 18th, it has been nothing but, the pedal's been on the floor, and I can tell if there's any bait makers that are watching, you can't prepare for that.
Nope.
Like, we got some hate out there because it was taking so long to get people their orders. Some people had to wait upwards 2 weeks.
It happens.
But I mean, I'll be real honest with you. The bushwhacker sales had started falling a little bit. They'd kind of started falling off a little bit, and it was simply because, like, our circle. And when I say our circle, you guys know, we've reached, every limit of our social media circle that we have. So we're trying to find different avenues to come in, break into new markets and stuff like that. So, most of these bushwhackers are so durable that people have them for a long time, and they don't need another one. So it was like, we kept looking for ways to break out of our social media circle. So the bushwhacker had kind of started slipping. It kind of started slipping, and that's when the M1, we started pushing the M1 this year, which I'll get into the M1 Wee Whacker situation of last year, but we were pushing that to get a new resurgence in another buzzbait, another Clacking style buzzbait. And then lo and behold, Pat goes out and wins and blasts that thing all over the place. And it's like, it's a brand new bait on the market nobody's ever heard of before.
I gotta ask. And if you can't talk about it, that's fine. But did you guys Did you guys hook up? You and Pat?
Yeah, we're working on some stuff. We're working on some, we're working on stuff. And Pat seems, I mean, we haven't personally met or anything yet, but I mean, just over the phone and the interactions that I got a light going through my blinds over here.
I see that.
Got my war stripes on.
Yeah.
There we go.
I like how much light. I like how much light you have.
Well,
your shop is well lit. That's that. I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
Well, I can't see my hand behind my back, so I have to have plenty of light in here. You find the third? Yeah.
I was just telling Josh I got some more grid wall and some more pegs today, and I'm all excited to go ham down in the warehouse and reorganize stuff.
Yeah, I heard y'all talking about that. Yeah, that's awesome, man. We're trying to figure out ways to squeeze a few more inches out of this shop over here, man. We were looking at moving, and then we were like, let's see if this thing kind of holds out, keeps going. And
can we hang grid wall on the back of the door?
Yeah, actually, you can.
Yeah.
So when Pat, did his deal over at Sabine, we literally had right at 1,000 bushwhackers of various makes and models hanging on the wall, and a bundle of 1,000 wires sitting in a box. Because we were kind of like, I don't want to really order it just yet because of the M1, and it's like, whatever. And then, he did that, and that thing ran for 3 days unchecked. We were just letting it rip, and then me and Tim were sitting here, and I was like, bro, I think we need to shut it off. He's like, yeah, dude, I'm go ahead and so from Sunday morning at 7:30 until we shut it off Tuesday at around probably 9 p.m. We had gotten like 1,700 orders.
Jeez.
And for the whole week, we had 1,700 orders, but we shut it off on Tuesday, and the orders kept coming in, and they were all buying Wee Whackers, which I was okay with because we're getting the Wee Whacker in more people's hands.
Mm-hmm.
But there was people that were upset because they thought they were buying the Pro when they actually got a Wee Whacker in the mail. And I felt bad about that, but we have very good descriptions on our website. But dude, we started counting up the orders that we had, and then we started counting up the wire we had. And we were like, oh shit. We need to order wire like right now.
Dude, that's a reoccurring nightmare I have. What if one day, like 100 people decide they want to sub to the box?
Yeah.
Like we're not really ready for that.
No, it's, I mean,
like growth is good, but quick growth is scary.
Explosions.
Well, yeah, and we had like several people that were like, well, you asked for this. You've been asking for this. I'm like, yeah, but not all at once.
I'm sorry. I wasn't buying $10,000 of material at a time, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
no doubt. It was so wild, man.
You can't just be like, yeah, I've actually got $600,000 worth of bushwhackers on my wall right now. Just waiting.
Yeah, no doubt, and
common misconception is if you own a business, you have money.
We figure that everybody's on the Amazon. Everybody's been Amazon, where it's like you order it and it comes. People are ordering it on Tuesday. I was hoping I was going to get this from my tournament on Friday, and I'm like, nope. Maybe next weekend's tournament, but dude, we were putting in 18 and 20-hour days for several weeks, and it was 7 days a week. Oh, it's so wild, man. It was just crazy. But, we capitalized on as much as we can. We got Tackle Warehouse. We got Shields. We're talking to we got multiple Shields. We didn't just get one Shields.
Yeah.
We got a slew of them.
Nice.
And we're still getting more of them. So it's like, it's so awesome, that it happened. I'm
glad you guys were able to like ride it out though. I'm impressed.
We're still on it. So we're actually going to be, I'll be at ICAST one way or another in 2 weeks, and I'm just going as a won't have a booth or anything like that. I've got some connections down there. We've already set up with meetings, and we're going to be talking to some really big tackle stores from across the country. We're going to be talking to another nationwide retailer. So we're trying to keep the ball rolling. We're trying to keep it rolling.
Well,
and
I wanna say this out loud. I want to get it on record that we've been with Brazalo before they were big. So whenever Brazalo becomes big business, we can still use Brazalo because we're grandfathered in.
There you go.
Okay.
Yep.
Just want that on record.
Yeah. When you go, I thought I saw them at Walmart.
Dude, how many comments I bought one of those last week at Academy, and we're like,
no,
my wife was commenting on it. My wife was commenting on that stuff. She's like, no, you
get sassy, brother. I do not care. You're gonna come for my neck, buddy. You better. Oh boy, I'm not gonna say it out loud, but like people, they're like, actually the Walmart special. I'm like, dude, it's like tied together with a zip tie. Shut up.
Yeah.
No, it's not the same thing. It's just not. But that's
it's a totally different deal. But out of all this, so we've had, I've had customers call, I've had other bait makers call, and they're all wondering about show season for 2026. Like, are you guys going to be able to do show season this year? I mean, it'd be really cool to see you guys out there. And we're like, yeah, we're doing it, man.
Hell yeah.
Like, I was like, I don't care. Even if we get just, where we're just absolutely hammered, we're going to make it happen simply because I don't want to shun anybody, just because we're busy or blow our customer base off or stuff. And that's why we go to the shows, is for the customer base, because it's, we've been busting our butt, putting it out there in front of those customers, and the customers word of mouth and sharing that stuff and, and talking about it. They're the ones that have actually helped us grow and get all that stuff out. So we want to make sure that we keep getting it out in front of customers. And
hey, just so you know, if you're going to Columbus, you got a place to stay, bub. Yeah, we do it.
I'll bring something to drink.
We do it every year, man. It's a lot. I don't know. It's almost
house.
Like a holiday. I really enjoy it.
The frat house.
Yeah.
It's like a reformed frat. Like it's not, it's not like, we're not like pulling each other's pants down and pooping off the roof. Like we're just
maybe next year. Maybe next year.
Saying some of the dumbest shit you've ever heard. Like, these guys last year, like there's this sandwich shop on campus, and all the sandwiches are crazy. Like it'll be like a roll of sushi with deep fried turkey leg, mozzarella sticks, French fries, topped on ranch dressing. And they've got a clip of me saying, these guys are talking about all these crazy sandwiches, and I'm like, you guys pretend like diarrhea doesn't exist. And everybody, we're all over 30 years old, dude. Like
you're gonna pay for that sandwich for a day.
It ain't made out of steel no more, dude. Like if I take the wrong medicine at the wrong time, I'm like,
Yeah, we've got a sandwich shop over here called Chiba Hut. I'm sure they're probably nationwide, but the menu and everything on the menu is marijuana based, like has a theme of it. Like they literally serve Kool-Aid. But the food is so good. The sandwiches are so good. And I took one of my employees over there last week, and we're sitting there eating one that's called a sandwich called the 5-0. And he's looking at me and I'm looking at him, and I was like, bro, I didn't realize the thing had peppers on it. He goes, yeah, but I didn't know they were hot peppers. And I was like, I don't remember this thing being this hot. Dude, I'm telling you, I was painful. Like, I gladly ate that whole sandwich. That thing was so good. But
hot pepper to me, dude. Like, not I just don't want to face the consequences after.
But I like hot peppers. I like it. I like it. But something else that so with all of this, and I hate to, we've gotten a lot of praise from, congratulatory stuff from, other bait makers out there, bait makers that we don't even have connections with. Like we know them and they know us, but that's it. Not bait makers that we literally talk to all the time.
Right.
And we've had some bait makers that have been kind of negative towards us.
That's weird.
Because
Of course.
And all if anything comes out of all of this, I want everybody to see that like it could have happened to you and it can't. Like it's that easy. So, keep grinding, keep putting out cool stuff, and keep pushing the envelope with everything, and really, like drill it in people's heads, keep putting it out in front of them, because we've been social media, our TikTok and all that kind of stuff has been, really good. And then now our Facebook's taken off really good, and, and all that kind of stuff. So, we're just keeping on the grind. We're just never gave up. It's like, I'm going to get there. And then for all of those anglers out there, look what Pat did. Just by, because most of these anglers out there now, they don't even talk about what they're throwing or what they're using.
Oh,
and I'm talking about anglers that are BFL anglers all the way up to the tip top.
He straight up gave you the love, and I have more respect for him because of that than anything else, because I don't know. That's a solid human being.
Yeah, absolutely. I had one of my stores call me and was like, bro, if he's not on your roster yet, like, you need to get him there. He is a good dude. And I was like, what happened? He goes, bro, he's sending people to my store. Like, he's literally sending traffic to my store, like talking about it on my store page, like how good of a bait that is. And he's sponsored by another store.
Yep.
So he's pushing the bait, and that talks about his integrity and his character right there. That like he's, it's the product. He's pushing the product, and so we hope that other anglers will start following suit and see that. Like, hey, it ain't even got to be some random bait maker. Talk about the stuff you're actually using. And as long as it doesn't void your sponsorship guidelines and stuff like that,
So
no,
because you can literally make it lottery day for a small business.
Oh, absolutely, man. And I know, our small business circle that we're involved with, like every single one of those guys would be so grateful, of stuff like that. And that's like us. I mean, we push other bait companies' products out. I mean, I've been waving around Bait Cave stuff over here, and that's the same as, and they talk about our stuff, and it's just it's two-way street with we're all trying to help each other. And
virtuous cycle, baby.
Yeah, man. So and we always will. And it's, and I push other people's hard baits.
I really like what you said about grinding, because listen, a lot of people can look and maybe frown and say, well, you just got lucky. Listen, if you consistently put yourself in the position to get lucky, that's the best way to get lucky.
Luck is a skill.
And it's called grinding.
Yeah.
You put yourself there every day as hard as you can, and eventually it's going to happen for you.
There was a conversation that was had at the frat house this year that had me kicked back in the chair, because the question was in my mind. And it was, friend of y'all's that was staying over there was asking me, all about the business and stuff like that. And I was, and they were like, so what's your plan? I mean, where you, what's your plan? I was like, I have no earthly idea. This wasn't even, I was like, that's been the question since the end of last year. It's literally like last year, 2024, we were everywhere. We're trying to we're like, okay, let's grow the tackle side. Let's get more tackle in here and sell, okay, walk-ins are great, but if we can put more tackle online, then we can, maybe this will turn into a tackle store business, or, this, that, or other, or we'll start manufacturing for other people, which we started doing, or we, it's like, we didn't know where we were going. We were just kind of letting it kind of just ice out a little bit. We didn't know. And that was the big question through show season, was literally like, where's this going? And then when we got to Georgia, that's when it started shifting for us. Like this year, like I knew something big was going to happen this year, but I didn't, not to the magnitude of what it did, in May, but there were things happening that, you know, I put a stone in place at East Tennessee Fishing Show. You know, I cornered two guys up, and when they saw the Wee Whacker, they were both like, they were glued to me. You know, it was like, bro, tell me about this thing.
I mean, I saw Dylan Hayes throwing that thing on he was throwing it on a tidal fishery too, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think it was it James River last year? Yeah. And they were talking about it on MLF. They were talking about on the Bass Pro Tour, like, you know, they were talking about it. But, you know, and then when we went to Georgia, we were on a podcast over there, and that turned that show into a really, really, really good show for us, which typically isn't. It's an okay show. And then it turned it. Well, there was two guys that came into the booth that I did not know. I wouldn't have been able to pick them out of a crowd for nothing, but they were part of Tackle Warehouse. They came into our booth and bought. And a friend of mine came over back. He was helping me work the booth. He was like, bro, you sold Tackle Warehouse. I went, huh? What? I was like, dude, I was scattered, man. I was just like all over the place with customers everywhere. And I was working by myself. He was like, well, who was it? He was telling me who it was. I was like, oh, it's happening this year. It's happening, you know? So it's kind of one of those where it's like the ball started rolling, and it was like all of a sudden my emotional momentum just like started just racking up speed. Then I was like, oh yeah, we're going somewhere this year. Now everything kind of started to funnel in, you know, and like, okay, this is the path. This is the way. Or the Mandalorian.
This is the way. Yeah, Josh and I say that to each other a lot. Hey, I have just a real quick question, just to put a reference to this story you're talking. How long has Brazalo existed?
Brazalo vaguely started in 2018. And in 2019, we did a local little trade show. And that's when we went ahead and broke down, got our business license, tax ID number, and started.
So you've been grinding for about 8 years?
Yeah.
All right. So
and guess what? We ain't gonna stop grinding.
Just a heads up. Listen, Dark Horse Tackle, we love the small business. That's our niche. And all you potential bait makers out there, all you guys that are already grinding, keep it up.
Yeah,
absolutely. Keep it up. It gets hard. I'm going to tell you, you're going to have some really hard days. You know, you guys have been down some rough roads. We've been down some rough roads, and guess what? There's still some gravel roads full of potholes ahead of us. So
I tell everybody, expect at least one kick to the groin every day.
Absolutely,
at least one.
If things are quiet, and I don't have a phone call with a problem, like, I'm kind of scared to go home.
Well, hey, Danny, you were talking about plans, and I want to tell you that you're always going to be part of Dark Horse Tackle's plan, man.
Well, you guys will always be part of Brazalo. Little hugs.
But we don't want to keep you too long. We appreciate you coming on and talking about the Wee Whacker and the M1 Pro, and talking about Brazalo, the company, and the things that have happened to you, man. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. Real quick before you leave.
Yo.
I need you to do an impression.
Yeah.
We're working on something.
Yeah, we're working on something. So if we're going to have, so come next week, we are going to have, we're thinking about 5 contestants. Okay. And we're going to have a post on our socials to find these 5 contestants. And what we're looking for, Josh, is
we're looking for an impression of the angler that comes to the weigh-in empty-handed, and why. You know, it's your typical, you know, pretend Dave Mercer's in your face and giving you backhanded compliments. Oh, Danny, you've done so well. Why did you fall flat on your face today?
Yes, we want to hear your best impression of an angler.
Go through the cliches. There's really no need for uniqueness because this is the bass fishing world after all.
So we're gonna do it like this. So Danny Brazalo, you've come far and you've done well and you caught him on day 1 and 2. What happened today?
Look, today when I woke up this morning, I got up. I knew when I rolled over on the wrong side of the bed, today was going to be a rough day. And when I tried to put my pants on and realized there were shorts and both legs were in the same stocking leg, I should have stayed in bed today. But I went out and I tried my hardest, and every fish that I hooked literally came off at the side of the boat. Like every single one of them. I guarantee you I had 70 fish on today. And every one of them came off, and half of them hit the side of the boat. So I don't know who's mad at me, who's got a voodoo doll with my name on it, but we're going to come back strong at the next one, and we'll make sure that we'll get out of bed on the right side. We'll push the bed against the wall so we get out on the right side.
That's right. Sabine River's next, so.
Dude,
there you go.
Nice,
yep.
Nice. And also we want to thank all of Danny's sponsors.
Yeah.
No need to mention who they are. Just thank you to my sponsors.
I would like to say, my wife. She's my biggest sponsor. She pays the bills for me to go do this thing. So. I love you, babe. We'll try harder next time. Maybe next time I'll get a paycheck and the lights won't go out. So, hey.
Danny, I love that shirt. I love that shirt, man. And thanks again for coming on, bro. We'll be talking
soon. All right,
soon.
man. All right, y'all be good.
We'll see you. That was Danny.
That was cool. He did it right. That's what we're looking for.
I love weigh-ins. I've always loved the cliches. Ironically, I had a flashback after we got off the phone, and Eddie and I, when we would fish tournaments, they do that. They do that at every level. We just make stuff up, whether we did good or whether we did bad. Dude, we used to tell people all the time, people would be like, "Oh man, it was Ohio tournament, so we'd come in with 10 pounds of fish and take top 3," and people would be like, what were you throwing out there? You want to give any hints? And I'd be like, drop shot and a buzzbait off windblown points. And yellow belly spring lizards was always a good one.
Yellow belly spring lizards.
There was a time where people
you fished those too, huh?
I had a guy, dude. I was fishing with a guy, and he goes, it was a little circle. He looks at me. He's watching what I'm fishing with, and he's like, "So where are those yellow belly spring lizards you throw?" And I'm like, forgot them, man. I left them at home.
Lost them all. They were good. Used them all.
I left them at home, dude. And yeah, honestly, dude, we'd just be throwing a jig.
So
we'd just be throwing a jig.
So I want to re-emphasize this. We're gonna put out a post.
Yep.
Okay. Looking for engagement from people, and the people that engage with this post, we're gonna pick 5 of you, and have you come on, and do your best impression of a professional angler.
Yep.
Coming on the backside of a bad weigh-in.
Claim your chance for stardom and Dark Horse Tackle Gear.
We will pick the winner, and the winner will get a.
Let's give him a BYOB.
A free BYOB. I like that. We'll give him a free BYOB box.
I like BYOBs, guys. If you haven't tried the BYOB, it's damn near the same price as a subscription box.
It is the same price.
Yeah, and you can. I get 30 for whatever reason. $32.99, $35.99, and $37.99 are always just going. $37.99. We don't have.
And none of those are correct.
Right. No, I know. That's why I don't say it out loud a lot of times. When I'm looking to do stuff for content, I'm like, okay, let's look at the website. Like, let's look at the website.
Fact check.
Everything's like, we got the power of nines on the website, dude. 49, 89, 69, 79, 99.
Yes.
Like everything is nine. But I always just forget. I just always like, I'll be in I did a great pack, Dark Horse Tackle pack video and sent it to Zach. He's like, that's great. I said $13.99. And I'm like, dude, I got to take it. I'm like, somebody's going to see that. Somebody's going to see that and freak out. So, Ryan,
if you want a good pack, get this last one. It ties right in with Danny.
Oh yeah, it's
you want to talk about a really good pack? Let's just tell people what it is, because
you get
it is a perfect pairing.
This is what you get. You get the M1 Pro, and you get these Phenom frogs from UFO Tackle. I think UFO did a great job with this color. I actually had to clip that part out of the YouTube video because I went on like a 1.5 minute overly detailed dissection of the Dark Horse color itself. I was like, yeah, it's green pumpkin and purple, but like I like seeing where these guys artistry comes from. Like,
right.
Everybody's green pumpkin purple is going to be different. And
we talked about the CP crawl last week. Like,
and magnets. Like, but I remember my girlfriend was filming, and I look at her like in the middle. I'm like in the middle of coloring, like talking about the color, and I'm like, I'm gonna cut all this out. I'm like, I just sat here for 1.5 minutes and explained green pumpkin purple. Dude, and I'm like talking about, like I'm sitting there and I'm just like, yeah, and if you look close enough, like it sparkles, but there's a lot of variations. And I'm just
you know what? My favorite part about his green pumpkin purple, his Dark Horse color. I looked at them all as I packed boxes.
It's kind of zebra striped.
Dude, none of them are the same.
No,
not one single one.
Listen, man, I'm a lover of inconsistent soft plastics. I love it.
Color wise.
Yeah. Inconsistency in color. I love electric shad is one of my favorite colors to throw. They're always different where the light hits and the purple flashes and the dark is there and the light part's there, the translucency, the opaqueness. It's all different. And I like it.
So
it's
Tuesday. We got Ryan Parker, and it's time for a tackle show. What do you got for us, bub?
Well,
let's add it in here.
Yeah, we're going to talk about paddle size.
Oh. This is crazy.
This is a little bit less of a tackle tip, but it's important. I think like a lot of us have gotten into or at some point have had a paddle craft. Like, right? Like we all kind of do this.
I've tried. It hasn't happened yet.
Angler progression of like, okay, I've walked the bank long enough. How do I go further? Or you get into a buddy's thing. Kayak fishing has gotten huge, over the last several years. We're all over the place again. He tried to type.
I'm trying to type.
Just if anybody doesn't know, Josh actually has a small cloud of electrical storm above his head at all times, and if it can go wrong,
camera doesn't work, microphones don't work, batteries don't work. Like I'll pull stuff straight off an 8-hour charge, and I'm like, all right, let's go make a 10-minute video. And it's like,
we're gonna talk about this, and there is gonna be a little bit of tackle talk kind of wrapped in at the end of this. But this has been on my mind since this past weekend. Because I had a river tournament that was no motors, and I haven't done that in a while. And it was fun, but it reminded me why I choose the paddle that I've chosen for most of my fishing, which is done in rivers. That's where I like to be. That's, but I use a paddle that's not the kind of, we'll call it the standard across kayak fishing anymore. I use a whitewater paddle. And specifically because it has that larger blade that you're going to see at the top right there. It's designed for a higher brace, which is a more vertical stroke, but it's especially designed to create a lot of power and movement very quickly. It's it takes a lot more energy to draw that stroke, but it moves your boat more efficiently in current, which is important. If you follow me on Instagram and saw that video from yesterday, that's a prime example why. If you haven't seen the video, I'm moving down some swift water. I catch a fish halfway down off a laydown. There's a strainer coming up, and I have to, do two hard strokes. Yeah, maneuver very quickly and get myself to a place where, you can get out. And so it's important to, I think, understand how important the paddle is if you're getting into this, or maybe you've been into it for a while, because it wasn't something that I knew getting into this sport.
Never thought of it,
I
honestly.
was into it for like 6 years before I even thought like, oh, my paddle can make this a lot more enjoyable.
Right.
I think I've heard Chad Hoover say it, like, buy the best paddle that you can afford when you get into this sport, because otherwise you're climbing this ladder. You end up spending. Did anybody hear that?
Yes.
That was my beagle. Whining at the door.
I thought maybe you were just hungry.
I am a little hungry, but that was.
Did you guys hear my cat?
That was the beagle. He's probably hungry too. He's always hungry.
Like the whole Danny interview, my cat was just.
It's my beagle, Bill. His name's Bill.
Badass name.
But like the flip side of that is, like, if I'm lake fishing and I'm only using a paddle, I don't want a whitewater paddle, right? Like that's going to wear me out very quickly if I'm paddling a lot longer distances over flat water. So you want to go with something, more in that, like, the bending branches, like range of paddles, like everything they carry. That blade size is kind of that middle to that longer mid-sized blade. It's a lot more efficient, and
I've got the Angler Pro, and it looks a lot like that mid one.
Yep. So that's the other paddle I use. I use a Werner Ikelos, which is and I use that with a bent shaft, and most of that is just ergonomics. I've had carpal tunnel surgery once needed on this one, and it just takes a lot of strain off my wrists.
The straight shaft that I have is affecting my wrists and my hands badly.
That bent shaft is it takes, like, it's an adjustment, right? Like if you've paddled with the straight shaft for a while, it's weird at first, but they index right where your hands go, so they're not round, they're oval, they fit better. But your wrists fall in a more natural position. It puts a lot less pressure on them.
Nice.
It makes a huge difference. But that bending branches blade shape is a lot more efficient for long-term, especially flat water paddling. And in the wind, it catches a lot less wind. And if you've never feathered your paddle, like out at 45s in high wind, man, it makes a huge difference too. I spent a lot of time paddling before I ever had a pedal drive and then a motor and whatever. I've spent more years of my kayak fishing has been done with just a paddle than anything else.
Right.
And I love to get back around to it, because those small, hard to get to places, you're not dragging motors back there. You're not dragging a pedal drive back there. You're bringing a paddle.
I am still motorless, and I'm very hesitant to get a motor because I love the ease of not having to worry about anything extra. So I'm still very much just a paddler.
Yeah, I go back to it a lot, and honestly, I take the motor out if I'm going to go all day or something like that. Most of my after work stuff, I'm not loading the battery and the motor and the throttle, because it's all this extra stuff I have to lug up and down the bank real fast. It takes a little longer to set up. Like if I'm running down to the 5-minute down the road spot, I'm grabbing the paddle because I only got a couple hours. Right. And it's just easy. With that said, this past weekend was absolutely phenomenal. Cashed a check, but I did it on 2 baits that some of you guys maybe have been acquainted with here recently. Is that Picasso swing head spinnerbait? Holy cow. I know I've talked about this on here. I've talked about it, on social media. But that bait, there's a reason it got that ICAST award, being a game changer. It's an absolutely phenomenal spinner.
Game changer.
Game changer.
Overrated word in fishing.
Not for that one, in my opinion. There are a few baits that I've fallen in love with, as much as and this is one of them, very quickly. It takes me a while to okay, this is a good one. This one has happened very quickly, and I've been fortunate enough to fish quite a bit here over the last month, since I got that box. But man, that thing has moved to the top of my list. It is
Why?
tied on. That one, I only have one, and I think I've caught probably 60 some odd smallmouth on it over the last month. I have not bent the wire back one time. I have not lost fish on it. I had it's incredibly durable. You don't have to tune it constantly. The wire is basically indestructible, and you remove the leverage from the fish. I mean, it's everything you want.
So these things, I think they're what? They're 16, 17 bucks.
Yeah. Yep. 17. Yes.
But it's gonna last.
I would not. I told a buddy today. I was like, I would be surprised if I needed more than 2 of them for an entire season.
That's awesome.
Right.
Which is
You're not breaking anything.
No, you're not breaking the bait. You'll break it off. That's how you're gonna lose that thing. Yep. So, and that's what's cool about the subscription boxes is you get bait, those baits find their way to your hands. The M1,
somehow
Picasso
we find a way to give you a
bait.
$17 to $20 bait.
Yeah.
And you might not have
right?
You might not have pulled the trigger
yourself. That's a price tag that I've stared at it.
I'm not buying it
for years.
By itself,
and I have never purchased one. And I don't walk away from $25 baits, but that's when I'm I just don't know how it's going to work. I don't know if it's going to do what I want it to do. I can tell you right now, it's going to do everything that you want it to do, and it's going to hold up 10 times better.
Nice.
Now, the other bait that actually caught most of my big fish, some of you may know it if you're familiar and have worked your way through the Bass Dope catalog on your own. If you don't, you may get acquainted with it very soon. And that was
July.
Should I
this
should
month.
I give it a little teaser?
Yeah,
dude.
dude.
A little spoiler.
Dude, give it up. Give it up.
I've included. I chose a jig in there that I've been using for the last several months, because I started working my way through the Bass Dope catalog when that little Candy Finesse was that the Candy Football Finesse jig showed up in over the winter, and so I was like, man, what's my summertime more open water version of that? They make a jig called the Pillhead. It's a little bit less football shape, a little bit more of that rugby head shape. It comes through the rocks incredibly well, but it's a compact, full-skirted jig. And that full skirt is awesome. When your bait's getting a little bit bigger, your forage, you want that bulkier profile. Or, in my case, I wanted that bigger bite. But, they were in this kind of post-spawning mood where they didn't want the big giant trailer and this and that, so little Riot Tantrum trailer on there, with that compact but still full skirt. It's a meaty little chunk of a profile.
Riot Tantrum is still available at darkhorsetackle.com.
It absolutely is.
We have a load of
no.
It that bait was just top notch the other day for getting a big bite. They wanted that kicking action. I've been using another trailer with that jig for some time now, which I'm not spoiling that one. You'll find out about it soon enough.
Yep.
New company coming from Dark Horse Tackle. Bear, 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 bear.
And it's a cool one. I'm really excited about that trailer. We're not going to get into that tonight, but
I do want to have a little spoiler here. I'm going to do it real quick here, and I'm only going to show you the side. But as you guys know, the July River and Creek box from Dark Horse Tackle is always a full art box, and that's the side of it. That's all I'm going to show you. But
very fishy.
It's cool.
Very fishy.
It's cool.
And there's kind of Easter eggs all through this whole episode of what's going to be in that box, and it's going to be some cool stuff. I think there's some off the wall things if you are a river fisherman, current fisherman, that like things that you maybe never thought to throw that I think are going to be pretty cool in that box.
I'm excited.
No, man, it was a pleasure working with you on that, on putting that together, dude. And we'll have like an episode about it, pretty much.
Well, it was a pleasure doing it, and I can say this now from the experience of doing it. Like, these things aren't just thrown together with no thought.
No.
Like, this is we've been talking about / working on this for the better part of 2 months. You know, like there's a lot that has gone into this, and a lot of back and forth, and like I think most of the people who are listening, you know, have subscribed at one point, or you know, are subscribers,
or will be subscribing.
If you haven't, or you have not, definitely give it a shot, even if it's just for a few months, just to dip your toes in the water. Like, this is not just, okay, we need to put together something for July. Let me go grab a couple things off the wall and throw them in a box. It's not that. Every single one of these is very carefully thought out and curated for specific purposes with, just the amount of thought and the process that goes into this. It's
speaking
unreal.
of dipping your toe in the water.
Yeah, somebody just dipped their toe in the water.
Actually, and I'm gonna say this out loud. What you're talking about, Josh, is a
tackle talk. Bass Essentials.
Correct. Do you know where he came from?
No.
Crate Joy. That's a Crate Joy convert.
Interesting.
I wrote him a note.
Nice. Nice.
And he actually texted me today, and sent me a picture of him with a fish, and it was real cool, man. It was real cool. I gotta say this. On a whole, Dark Horse Tackle customers are the coolest customers out there.
Yes.
Like, every last one of you guys is badass. Like, we really appreciate you guys. We appreciate. I don't even know what to say, but just let's leave it at that. You guys are cool customers, man.
Yes.
Real cool.
I think we've learned at these last 2 lives too, like with Danny and with Cliff last week. Like, and I threw it in the comments, like, these small bait makers, they're the innovation in an industry that is flooded with copycats.
Yep.
Like, all of this innovation is coming from these small shops all across the country, and small bait makers and tinkerers and just people who,
well, they
have a passion for making the bait. It's not just pumped out of a factory.
It's what drives it. If you ask me, it's what drives it all.
Yep.
It's where it comes from. You know, it's if you look at the fishing industry as a giant machine, the small business is the grease.
Yep.
And it's what
keeps
it perpetually moving forward. I'm
really excited to see what Strike King will do with the Brazalo Wee Whacker.
Dude, the Wee Whacker just does.
Everybody will act like they've never seen it before.
I like, full disclosure, I used to throw the little mini king buzzers.
That's one of my favorites. The 3-wing.
Because and then I discovered the Wee Whacker, and I was like,
now I have to say,
now I got a better one.
There are two mini buzz baits, micro buzz baits, whatever you want to call them. The Wee Whacker and the Jig Masters micro buzz.
Yep.
And I used them in two completely different freaking ways. And there is a time and a place for both of them. And it's amazing to me. You look at them and it's a wire bait with a prop on it. And you stick a soft plastic on it. And it does what it does, right? Easy? No. They literally, I use them in two completely different ways. It's unfreaking believable. Yeah, super excited. Ryan, I got a question for you. You're muted, buddy.
Yeah.
Next Tuesday, are you gonna be in Minnesota?
I am gonna be in Minnesota.
Well, you gonna be able to join us from Minnesota?
I'm pretty sure. Sure.
Cool.
I'm planning on it. I'm pretty sure we're gonna have a lot cooler. We're gonna have a different background again. That's
nice.
Not my mom's house.
We like to keep it fresh.
Yeah. I may be on the water. We'll see.
But you're gonna be there because the Kayak Adventure Series is going to Minnesota.
Mississippi Bronze Quest.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Achigan. Sponsored by Achigan.
We're gonna see if I can one up myself and catch a 23 at this one.
You gonna win this one, buddy? You gonna take it?
That's the plan. That's the plan. Look, these guys know. Well, Zach knows for sure. I've stocked up on some baits.
You have.
I'm going in with big guns, and I never fish for second whenever I do these things.
We're excited.
That might be part of my angler with no fish at the weigh-in. Sorry, like, hey, if you're not first, you're last. Like,
I ain't fishing for second.
I wasn't fishing for second. It's it's not that I didn't have the bites, but I just didn't have many of them, and I just didn't execute.
So while you're out there, if you run into any contestants that you think would stand a good chance, at our little game we're playing, let us know and we'll get them on the live so that they can give their best pro angler bad weigh-in speech.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, because I know there's gonna be some hammers up there, dude.
There are.
And maybe we can get one of them on the horn. That would be cool.
Yeah. I'll spread the word.
Yeah, hell yeah. Well, we are 12 minutes past.
We are over.
Yeah. 12 minutes past our hour. Giving you guys OT, just so you know, I'm gonna invoice all of you.
Yep.
For time and a half.
I've got to get my beauty sleep for Saturday.
Saturday, dude.
Yeah, you got to get your beauty sleep for Saturday.
Real quick. Myself, Josh, and Ryan are getting together Saturday on River X. And we're gonna make a video, and we're gonna catch some fish, and it's gonna be a blast.
It will be fun.
The only thing I'm worried about is parking at the put-in. So we'll have to see about that.
Can your truck take 2 kayaks, Ryan?
My truck can take however many you can stack on it. I don't give a crap.
Might have to.
Yeah, I can get 2. So, I can stack 2 shoalies, no problem.
All right, cool. Well, with the three, we have 3.
Well, I can get 3 on there too. For like a shuttle, sure.
All right, we're good then. But all right. Well, Ryan, thank you very much, my man. Good luck in your practice. We'll be talking to you. We'll be talking to you before you actually are competing, right?
Yeah.
So
I will have probably very little practice, if any, by the time you guys talk to me again. And
but we want to know. I'm super jealous. I actually had planned on making it to Minnesota, but it's not in the cards this year.
Life happens.
Yeah.
It's a haul.
So
It's 13 and a half hours for me.
we're gonna live vicariously through you, so you better have the camera rolling.
Camera's rolling. I beefed up my Naqua power pack, so the camera's going to be rolling the whole time. And
I cannot say enough about the Naqua power pack, guys. I have been fishing, right? So I went out fishing for 3 full days and 2 half days on one charge on a 20 amp hour Naqua power pack. And I filmed the entire time nonstop at 5.3K 30 frames per second. And I still have half a battery left. So just saying,
they're fantastic.
It's the way to go.
I don't recommend anything under the 10 amp.
Most of those days
filming.
Most of those days, it was pouring down freaking rain. And I have a system with the GoPro and what Naqua offers that I don't care. It can rain all at once.
Yeah.
I never have to touch my camera.
Here's a little
fantastic.
I think YoloTech makes the silicone, the soft silicone you can shove around the cord. Here's a little bit of a cheaper thing. Get the little soft earplugs for kids. It's the exact same stuff, but you get like 16 of them for like $1.70. So the
Naqua connection is already
waterproof. Yep.
But your USB-C connection is not waterproof. They actually supply you with heat shrink tubing, and I just encased and enclosed all of that in the heat shrink tubing, and I've had 0 issues.
Yeah.
0.
That's what I've done with mine. And
I have for the GoPro, I have the
magnetic gate thing.
Yeah, the magnetic. They have a new door with a magnetic snap. Dude, I have literally casted and hit that thing and knocked it into the water. It doesn't matter.
If you have the older GoPros, that's where I use that little soft silicone like earplug thing. It's around that little pass through on the dog door.
I got, what do I have an 11 or a 12?
11 or 12, I don't remember.
You have the 12.
Yeah,
I have the 11.
Yeah.
But anyways, they accept the
I
magnetic door. Guys, get the magnetic door. You don't have to worry about it.
Last tip of the night.
Done.
There you go.
Yes. All right. Ryan, we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Yeah.
Josh?
Yep.
Keep grinding, bud.
Gonna keep doing it.
Everybody
else, we'll see.
To everybody that's tuned into the live, and to everybody that's going to watch this live after the fact, because we know that happens. Guys, come check us out.
Yep.
Got a lot of good baits. Darkhorsetackle.com, like Josh just said. And we'll see you guys in a week.
See you next Tuesday.